early lunch hours so you wouldn't be zapped, and you can make better choices for lunch to actually give yourself energy. Oftentimes, it's really, sometimes how we function in life is to stop doing things that hurt us. And so a lot of what we eat today we're eating foods that drain our energy. And in fact, if we look how we have evolved over the course of several years, we basically have gone from hunter-gatherer to, a sedentary lifestyle where we can have all these calories, delivered to us and consumed within 10 or 15 minutes, but that's not what we're just genetically designed to do. And when we eat all those calories, it is just energy draining. It takes our energy away from us. So some of it is stopping what we're doing and then changing it to foods that are going to give us energy. And that's one of the biggest things, and I can't stress enough to the patients or to people that we see through CardioTabs or in our social media information, is that diet and lifestyle is the core to your health, is the core to your energy. It is truly the core to how you're going to live your life. And so if we want to be healthy and if we want to have energy, we need to do things, stop doing the things that drain us, as well as do things that provide us energy. We can all laugh at this cat here that I have out here, and think that's funny, but how many dogs have we seen and cats have we seen just like that? So we're actually even carrying over how our bad habits to our pets, whom we dearly love. So we do need to change how we're eating and what our lifestyle habits are. If we were going to bring a giraffe to the Kansas City Zoo, we would want it to thrive. We would want it to get along with others. We would want it to have a long, healthy life, and we would want it to have the best chances that it could be everything that it could be in a natural habitat. And that's why we put it in its natural habitat. However, if we took that giraffe and we took it by McDonald's, it would have the same issues that we have. It would have the metabolic syndrome, the prediabetes, the energy drain. It would have all those things. So we first, in order to get energy, we need to stop doing things that drain our energy, as well as do things that give us energy. So it takes both of those things. And in all seriousness, you really should consult your healthcare provider before you engage in a sedentary lifestyle and you eat foods that you are not genetically made to eat, that drain you of your energy, that do not feed your organs, because it's dangerous. It's dangerous to your health, and it's dangerous to your quality of life. We are not wearing out. We are rusting out. And we are rusting out and being filled with bad foods that don't help to give us energy to do the things that optimize our health. So number one on 7 ways to boost your energy is going to be what's on your plate. And it's not about just what you eat, it's about what you don't eat. When you eat things like simple carbs and sugars, and how many of you have, think about how many kids or how many of you eat Pop-Tarts in the morning or donuts or even cold cereals. All those things in the morning that I just named, those are just simple carbs and simple sugars. There is no protein, there's no fruit and vegetable, there's nothing that's going to give you energy. There's nothing, this will drain you. It'll give you a sugar spike and you'll come crashing down in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, you're going to be looking for more sugar or you're going to be lethargic and tired. Do you think if you had this spaghetti for lunch today or if you had this burger, fries, and soda for lunch today, how do you think, and say your lunch was now, how would you think you'd feel at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock? Would you be tired? Would you be yawning? Would you be looking for more sugar? Potato chips, pizza. In fact, pizza has become the #1 junk food. So when you eat those things, think about how you feel a couple hours afterwards. It's draining. It's not going to give you energy. And I've really noticed my eating habits a lot since I've been back to school. In fact, I will not have carbs or sugars particularly at all if I have a paper due at midnight. There's no way because I'm going to be exhausted. So it is all about, You want your energy and your mind to focus. You want to be sharp and bright. And in order to be all you can be, you can't eat those foods and it's going to be at the top of your game because it's going to drain your energy. When you eat foods that are full with protein and fruits and vegetables, such as non-fat plain Greek yogurt with berries, or any vegetables, fruits, nuts, those things are going to feed your organs. Those are going to give your organs energy. And in fact, every color out there has a nutrient, vitamin, mineral that our body needs, a different one that our body needs to give it energy. So we really should have the color of the rainbow by the end of the day. So think about how many colors that you've had. Salmon and vegetables. Farmers markets have some of the best vegetables, and in fact, the quicker you can get it from the ground into your mouth, the more nutrients and vitamins and energy you're going to get from it, and antioxidants that you're going to get from it. In fact, we should be growing our own little mini gardens in our yards, and we should be teaching our kids and grandkids to do that. Nuts, all this stuff are healthy for us, and it's going to give us energy. So number one, a great lunch today would be some chicken breast with broccoli and carrots, or cut up some cucumbers and tomatoes. I often have that with chicken for breakfast. So it's really important that not only do we eat protein in at least 2 colors, the more colors the better. It's really important not only we do that, but we stop eating foods that drain us. We're just going to, on our Cardio Wellness Facebook page on Monday, we are starting a 3-week challenge. It's backed by popular demand, so feel free to follow us. We've got several health tips coming up to help you get off those carbs and sugars, but it's a 3-week challenge to get off those simple carbs and sugars, to concentrate on lean proteins and fruits and vegetables. And it's a way just to kind of help motivate and get people jump-started, just to get out of the rut that they're in. So if you want to follow us, it's Cardio Space Wellness on Facebook, and that will start on Monday. But again, what you eat is going to affect your entire day. The next tip to boost your energy, besides what you eat, is going to be to get up and move and to be active. So if you sit at the desk, when you work, if you're sitting at the desk, it's best if you can get up and take a brisk walk. Go out in the fresh air if you can. Get up from your desk and just stretch. Climb the stairs. Climbing the stairs just takes 2 or 3 minutes. So get up and climb the stairs and just give yourself just a little mental break. Plus, when you get the circulation going, you've got more oxygen that goes to the brain cells. It just makes everything sharper. Stand up and move. If you're on your mobile phone, keep it mobile. Walk around. Some people, when I have meetings with Dr. O'Keefe, it's a walking meeting. He'll often want to walk somewhere while we'll have the meeting. So the more that you can walk and the more active you can be, that's great. If you're not doing any exercise at all, add 10 minutes of walking to your current regimen. And now if you're already an exerciser, add intervals. Add some high-intensity intervals. So say you've walked 2 miles every day for the same amount of time for the last 5 years. Well, what I would encourage you to do is after 5 or 6 minutes of your brisk walk, I would encourage you to walk 30 seconds to a minute as fast as you can without jogging, and then go back to your 5 or 6 minutes of brisk walking, and then 30 seconds to a minute as fast as you can without jogging, and alternate that. If you like to cycle on a stationary bike, alternate it with 20 seconds of spinning as fast as you can, and then go back to your brisk pace for another 5 or 6 minutes, and then 20 seconds of spinning as fast as you can. So add intervals if you're already an exerciser. Get some intensity up there. Those things actually build you energy and help you to be fit, and even getting up and stretching. One of the things that I think is really important too is when you start tracking what you're doing, you actually have a better idea of the lack of or the amount you do. So I would encourage you to get a pedometer or some type of digital mode that can track what you do, and you can kind of keep track of how much you do. We would encourage everybody to get about 10,000 steps a day. If you start out and you're at 4,000, then your goal will be 5,000 over the next 4 weeks. But make a goal, and you got to start tracking to know what you do or what you don't do in order to improve. In 2 to 3 minutes, if you're in the office working, in 2 or 3 minutes of exercise will make a difference. You will notice that you're energized and you're refreshed. So the big ones so far are going to be what you eat, what's on your plate, and being active and moving. And that's the big three. The next one, ways to boost your energy naturally, is getting adequate amount of sleep. So I call them the big three. What's on your plate, activity, getting up and moving, and adequate sleep. The National Heart and Lung and Blood Institute reports that sleep leaves, if we have too little sleep, that we're drowsy. We don't perform at our peak. We're unable to concentrate. Our memory is impaired. Our physical performance is impaired. And think about it. How many times have you been lethargic and tired because you haven't had a good night's sleep? Do you see those sleepy people, or do you see yourself smiling, energetic, and involved? You really can't be happy. You really can't be energetic. I mean, you have to because you're so exhausted, it takes concentration for the littlest of conversations. Most people should strive for 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, and that's what we should be. This is one of my goals. This is one of my personal goals right now, is to try to increase myself to 7 hours of sleep. I started out around 6, and I'm up to about 6.5. But really, you need to make sure that you go to bed at night in time to give yourself at least 7 hours of sleep for the next day. If you have a meeting that you want to be really sharp for, you need to make sure you have adequate amount of sleep and you're not tired and have low energy, because you won't function at your best. Number 4 would be to hydrate. Make sure you have plenty of water. This is one of the most overlooked reasons for being fatigued or having less energy is hydration. So if you're dehydrated, it can cause like a brain fog. It can make you feel just sleepy. But however, getting a cold glass of water and drinking it, you'll automatically start to feel refreshed. A lot of people will say, well, Becky, how much should I drink? If you don't have heart failure or issues with heart failure, your urine will be your clue to if you're drinking enough. Your urine should be a pale yellow or even clear. And so if your urine is not a pale yellow or clear, you're not drinking enough fluid. You need more water. It's interesting because I have a lot of 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds that I have seen in the last 3 or 4 years, more so than the prior decade, actually, where they say, Becky, I'm just exhausted. And when you're 20 or 30 years old, you can't be exhausted. You've got a long ways to go. But when we look at their diet, when we look at their sleep habits, we look at their exercise habits, no wonder, they're exhausted. And in fact, I often do the 3-week challenge with them. I tell them for 3 weeks, I want you to eat lean proteins, fruits and vegetables. I want you to get more activity in, and I want you to drink plenty of water. And tell me in 3 weeks if you don't feel better. And most of the people say, I cannot believe it. And it's not just that they're not tired, but that they have energy. So it can make a huge difference if you stop doing things that drain you and you do things that give you energy. The pendulum will swing. Number 5 would be to have your vitamin D level checked. If you live above the 37th parallel, which would be above like Los Angeles and Atlanta, where we live here in Kansas City, and for those of you outside of Kansas City, again, if it's above the 37th parallel, between November and March, the sun's rays, even if it's out, it's not intense enough for it to hit our bodies and have us make vitamin D. Because vitamin D is a hormone that our body makes when the sun hits our skin. And as we age, it's harder for our body to make the vitamin D too. So we want to make sure that you check your vitamin D levels, because when you have low levels or you're depleted of it or insufficient, you'll feel tired. Your legs might even be achy. You might have achiness all over. You may even become depressed. In fact, some of that seasonal disorder, where people feel depressed in the winter, has been related to vitamin D. I actually was with a person on the plane once, and they said that he has such depression in the winter that his wife allows him to go once a month somewhere sunny for December, January, and February. So he was coming back from Arizona as I was coming back into Kansas City, and I'm like, well, you should have your vitamin D levels checked. And then, of course, the things that recommended a cardio scan. And so I've seen him after that, and he has come in and he said, well, I'm not going to tell my wife, but my vitamin D was really low, and that was after he came back from Arizona. So definitely check your vitamin D levels if you live above the 37th parallel, like above Atlanta or above Arizona. A lot of people will say, how much vitamin D should I take? It does depend on what your vitamin D level is. For most adults, we'll say about 2,000 international units of over-the-counter vitamin D3 a day would be sufficient, but many of our patients require much more than that. And I think one of the questions that was mailed in or emailed in earlier was if 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3 was too much. And 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3 could be too much. In fact, if you do that over time, like 7 or 8 months of that, it could become toxic. So I would not recommend 10,000 on a daily basis unless you're checking your vitamin D and you know that your vitamin D level is within optimal range. Now, what could happen is you could be depleted and you take 10,000 for a short period of time to replete your levels, and then you go to a lower dose for maintenance. If vitamin D level is under 20, we'll do 50,000 international units of a prescription vitamin D for twice a week for about 10 to 12 weeks, and then we'll recheck it and go from there. So definitely have your vitamin D levels. I love the CardioTab multivitamin because they do have 2,000 IUs of vitamin D3 in it, so you don't have to take a separate multivitamin and an additional 2,000 IUs of vitamin D3, so that's an option for you as well if you're needing to add 2,000 vitamin D3 to what you're currently taking.
Becky?
Number 6. So the 6th way to help boost your energy is coenzyme Q10. And this is often overlooked as well. As we age, we make less coenzyme Q10. If you're on a statin medicine, which is a prescription medicine for cholesterol, such as Lipitor, or atorvastatin is the generic name for that, Zocor or Simvastatin, the generic for Zocor, Pravastatin, Crestor. If you're on any of the statin medicines, there's been some studies that show that association with that being on a statin has lower coenzyme Q10 levels in your system. So a supplement will definitely help replace that coenzyme Q10. And in fact, that's how your body produces energy in our cells, is with the coenzyme Q10. It's a powerful antioxidant, and it's needed for energy. So when we have less of it, we're not at our optimum energy level. So definitely taking a supplement. It's hard to get it absorbed. So oftentimes people have to take these mega doses because they're hard to absorb. They need to be put in liquid. It's best if you take it with food. You want to take it 1 or 2 hours apart from your fish oil. And I do recommend the CardioTabs coenzyme Q10 because it is highly absorbable, and you only need 150 milligrams of that product to get it absorbed in. And again, it's best if you take it with food and 1 hour or 2 apart from the fish oil that you take. But coenzyme Q10 is needed in your body to help produce energy. And the 7th recommendation on how to boost your energy would be to make a tea time. Tea is another powerful antioxidant. It can boost your energy levels. It helps with clarity of your mind. It helps with your mood. And even decaffeinated tea has this power. I do take the Cardio Tea product. I think it does help me with energy. It also boosts your immune system. So one of the questions that was also emailed in, if I can't find it, was could you please tell me how to increase my immunity to colds? Seems like lately I've been getting one every few weeks, and what I would recommend is your diet, exercise, and adequate sleep. Those 3 things, hand washing, and I'd recommend Cardio Tea because it is good. It's a good antioxidant. It does help boost your immune system. And if you get a cold in the first couple of days, the Zicam is pretty good as well to help you. But I do think if you eat healthy, exercise, and get plenty of sleep and wash your hands, you're going to do well. I take the CardioT, and it does boost the immune system, and that would also be helpful to you as well. So the 7 ways that I have to boost energy would be to look at your plate. You want to have lean proteins and fruits and vegetables, at least 2 colors on your plate, but also with that, you want to not eat the simple carbs and sugars that drain you of your energy and that don't provide your organs with any nutrients that it needs. You need to get moving. You need to get adequate sleep, 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and you need to plot that out. You need to plan that. If you're going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you need to be asleep by 11 to get at least 7 hours of sleep. Hydrate yourself. Make sure you're getting plenty of water, and again, you can check your urine for that. Check your vitamin D level. I didn't say this earlier, but you want your vitamin D level to be anywhere between 40 and 60. So check your vitamin D level. Take the right amount of vitamin D needed to get your level between 40 and 60. Coenzyme Q10 is what our body uses to produce energy, so you need to make sure you have adequate amounts of coenzyme Q10. And drinking tea or taking a tea supplement such as CardioT is also helpful in boosting your energy. I do have some other questions that have come in, and I'll go ahead and answer those. Is that okay, Aaron?
Yeah, go for it. We had one question submitted a little bit earlier about when you're talking about how much vitamin D is too much. What about water? How much water should we be drinking daily?
Yeah, so on the water, like I said, if you don't have heart failure symptoms, I mean, usually we say 8 ounces of water a day, but if you're an avid exerciser, that's going to change. So you always want to look at your urine. If your urine is dark yellow, you're going to need more water. You want your urine to be a pale yellow to clear. That is going to tell you if you're drinking enough. Now, the standard rule, 8 ounces of water a day. But again, it all depends on how much you're sweating, how active you are, how less active you are. So your urine, really, your body tells you what you need. So if your urine is a dark yellow, you need to drink more. Is that it, Aaron? Or?
Yeah, that was the only one submitted so far.
Okay. So some of the questions that Aaron had emailed me earlier today that have come in were do energy drinks work? And energy drinks, they are just loaded with sugar and taurine. There's been studies where it raises blood pressure, it increases some heart contractility. So we don't recommend energy drinks. You're better off staying with your coffee or your caffeinated tea. You're better off in that regard than to get these energy drinks that gives you this big burst of caffeine and sugar all at once. Someone mentioned that they drink 2 cups of coffee every morning and then they have a 4-hour energy drink. And are they over drinking caffeine? Not really about over drinking caffeine here. It's just the energy drink is really not helpful. I mean, it's going to maybe give you energy for a short term, but it might even crash you later because it's loaded with sugar. So you're better off sticking with the coffee. We do recommend about 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, which is about 3 or 4 cups of coffee. And I will say, all the studies have shown with caffeine that it doesn't hurt you. In fact, it can be very helpful to your mind and your brain and for Parkinson's and all kinds of good stuff. So caffeine has not been found to be harmful at this time, perhaps at huge doses. But if you can stick around 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day or 300 and 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, you should be just fine. So why do I toss and turn at night, and why do I wake up tired in the morning? Well, you're probably tired because you tossed and turned all night. So why are you tossing and turning all night? There could be a lot of things associated with that. And I always tell people, if you snore at night, now if you have a cold or an allergy symptom going on and you're snoring during that time, that's not necessarily abnormal. But if you, for the majority of the time, snore, that is not a normal, that's not a normal way to sleep. You really shouldn't snore. So I would get checked for sleep apnea. Do you wake up tired and unrefreshed? Can you sit sedentary very long without falling asleep? Do you snore on your back, not on your side? I mean, all those, or if you do snore on your back and on your side, all those are signs of sleep apnea. Some people might have restless leg syndrome where they have their legs jerk at night and that wakes them up. So definitely, talk to your doctor or your nurse practitioner about this, your healthcare provider, and maybe you need a sleep study. What we do recommend to help people sleep would be just to take some over-the-counter melatonin, like 3 milligrams, and a baby aspirin at night, and that could be really helpful to help you get a good night's sleep.
Becky,
So somebody else can, go ahead.
I was going to say we had a question when you were mentioning tea and all the benefits, antioxidant benefits of hot tea. How about iced tea? Does that confer any health benefits as well?
Well, the hot green tea probably gives you the best benefits, and then black tea follows it, and you get more of the benefits from the hot teas. I mean, you do get some benefits from the iced tea. You don't really have the belly fat reduction with the cold tea as much as you do with the hot tea. But your best bet's going to be the hot tea, the green tea, and then black tea is also good. And you do get antioxidants from the iced tea. You just get better benefits from the hot tea. Someone else asked about they have early morning tiredness. And again, that could just be from not getting good enough sleep. Maybe you're not getting a healthy dinner at night. So you just got to figure out what's going on with your sleep, what your dinner is. It's hard to say when someone just says they have early morning tiredness exactly what that means. Sometimes people are wired and tired at night and they can't go to sleep, and often that's because your sugar is out of whack. If you would get off the simple carbs and sugars and eat healthy, you'd be amazed how much that changes, and that might be why you have the early morning tiredness and you don't feel like getting up and getting going until about 11 or noon or 1. And most of that is just related to your diet. If you can get rid of simple carbs and sugars and have protein and fruits and vegetables for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're going to be much better off, and you're going to be shocked. If you would just do it for 3 weeks, you'll be shocked about the energy that you will have for that. Someone asked about, is there suggestions to keep vitamins from hurting the stomach? I would try not to take too many at once, and I would take it with food. That would be an option. And here's another good question is, can taking magnesium supplements increase one's energy level? I don't know that I saw that with boosting energy, but it certainly might seem like it could, because it could reduce muscle cramps, and you might feel a little stronger when you take the magnesium. So if you are going to take magnesium, we do recommend about 250 milligrams a day, and there'll be a new product that CardioTabs is coming out with that's for bone health, and I think it'll be like 2 capsules, and when you take those, it should have about 250 milligrams of magnesium in that for bone health as well. So that will be another way to get the magnesium. But no, I think magnesium supplements might make you feel like it's increasing your energy level because you'll have less muscle cramping and might feel stronger with that. Will better energy levels improve motivation? So when I talk about motivation, I always tell people that for those that have to get off, I'll put this energy code. If you use energy 25, you'll get when you place your order for coenzyme Q10 today, you'll get 25% off. So I'll leave that up while I'm finishing these questions. So will energy levels improve motivation? All right, so with motivation, people think it's something that they wait for and it's going to come to them. Motivation is not something you wait for. Motivation is something you create. So if you think that you're going to exercise later, if you're not motivated if you're not willing to motivate yourself at noon, you're most likely not willing to motivate yourself at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. You would rather rearrange the sock drawer and the Tupperware cabinet before you go to exercise. So it's not about how will motivation come to me. It's about creating motivation. Now, energy levels, when you have more energy, it gives you more willpower, because you have more willpower to make yourself do things you might not have wanted to do, or make yourself get up and concentrate on a problem that you wouldn't have been able to concentrate on before. So yes, when you have higher energy levels, better sleep, better eating habits, and even better exercise, because everybody knows that when they go exercise, even exercisers know they might not feel like exercising, but they love how they feel afterwards. It gives you energy. So always think about, I'm waiting to be motivated. well, that's not going to happen because you got to create the motivation yourself. But yes, higher energy levels do improve energy, or better energy levels do improve energy, because the more active you are, the more energy you're going to get. Should a 75-year-old person be getting? We recommend everybody to have at least 30 minutes of cardio exercise a day, whether that's walking or stationary bike or water walking or swimming. Anything that would be cardio, we definitely recommend about 30 minutes a day. And the more active you are, the better off you can be. Now, if you've got a walker and you can only walk 50 feet, the more 50 feet you do, the more active you're going to be. If you stop doing the easy things will become hard. So the older you get, the more you do, the more you're able to continue to do. So think about that. And so just try to be as active as possible. And again, for most people, we recommend 30 minutes of cardio exercise a day. If you're not doing any of that, start at 2 or 3 minutes. If you think you don't have any time, run the stairs or walk the stairs for 2 or 3 minutes. It'll take you longer to recover your first few times than it is to just do the stairs for 2 or 3 minutes, because it might take you a few minutes to recover, but the more you do, the easier it gets. So the question was, will the information I give you today increase your energy without side effects? Not only will it not give you side effects, the things that I told you today, it will help your overall health and add quality to your life. And I hope you guys will join us on the Cardio Wellness Facebook page for the 3-week challenge, because I think if you could do it for 3 weeks and feel the difference, you'll be amazed. Thanks, everybody, for coming today. Is there any other questions, Aaron?
That was all the questions that were submitted. We did have one comment on caffeine and adrenals. Do you know anything about caffeine intake and how it affects adrenal glands, and if there's an optimal amount of caffeine to take to support a healthy adrenal gland?
Sure. You know, we recommend no more than 3 or 4 cups of caffeine a day. Yes, and you know, that's that wired and tired. You know, you've got your adrenals are just pumping all the time. Again, it's not just caffeine. And when we recommend stopping, if you want to get a good night's sleep and you're having tired sleeping as well, and we do recommend stopping caffeine, not having it after 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So that's beneficial. But it's not just caffeine. It's also about your sleep, because you're wired and tired and you have the adrenals going. So it's about all of the things I talked about, really the big 3, which is going to be what's on your plate, getting rid of carbs and sugars and eating energy foods, exercising, and getting adequate sleep. So you're going to have to go to bed earlier, make sure you get the 7 hours of sleep in. It also will help with your willpower and your focus to get off the carbs and sugars, have lean proteins and fruits and vegetables. You guys will be amazed if you eat a bunch of carbs and sugars, how much energy you will have just by coming off of that and eating foods with higher levels. And we won't have so much to worry about with the adrenals as much. But to protect the adrenals, we would do no more than 300, 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. And to stop at around 2 p.m.
That's the only question I have left, so I think we are at an end of the webinar. Thank you, everyone, for attending. A link with the recording will be sent out in the next day or two. Feel free to share it with any of your friends. And if you have any suggestions for future topics you'd like to hear more about or other questions, feel free to submit them on our Facebook page or Becky's Cardio Wellness Facebook page. Again, thank you for attending. Becky, thanks for being a great presenter, as always, and have a great day.
Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.